everybody, I'm Joey Paul and I'm an indie author, and welcome back to my channel. I write young adult fiction across a variety of genres, and if you think that might interest you, then think about subscribing below. I wanted to talk today about the comfort zone that comes with writing. You all know what I mean, that time when you are pretty solid in what you write and how you go about doing it. There's nothing wrong with a comfort zone, but sometimes you can grow as a writer by stepping outside of it, and so I'm going to give you some pointers on how you go about doing that. Number 1. Changing genres. This is a big one for me. If you don't know, when I first started writing, I was always dabbling in crime mystery with a hint of paranormal from time to time. For a long time, I thought that would be me set, and I'd never really branch out beyond that. I might add a new subgenre like Walk a Mile being sci-fi crime, but I always have an air of mystery to my stories. And in some ways that's true, because most stories have something hidden from the reader, but in a lot of ways it's not how things ended up. It was only really getting the idea for the Lights Out trilogy that had me stepping outside of my comfort zone and starting to see what else I could write and how I would go about doing so. It's a huge change when you're someone who has always written a certain thing, and it doesn't come without its own kind of risk. After all, if you have a large reader base, how do you know that they'll like this new genre? And that, for me, is a small stepping stone. There's always pen names and such to cover that eventuality. But before I end up going down a path and off the point, let me tell you that you can learn and grow when you're changing genres. Doing this will allow you to have another way of seeing the genre that you write. You'll be approaching an idea that maybe you would have dismissed, and then you'll be able to flex new writing muscles. Whether that's in world building or writing a thriller and having to work out how the twist in the middle and the end work, it can change how you approach the writing process completely, and that's not always a bad thing. I'll go into more detail about why not in a moment, but switching genres can help you discover more about the kind of writer you are and help you with some of your weaknesses. Like, for example, if you are a dark writer, trying to write a romance is going to be a learning experience. And just because you write something doesn't mean it has to be published, if that's the route you want to take. Changing genres will allow you to step out of your comfort zone and learn more about yourself, your writing, and the way that you do things. Number 2. Switching around ideas. Whenever I have a new idea for a story, I try not to limit it to a certain genre. Now, if you're more of a planner than I am, it might not work for you, and that's okay. Sometimes I don't know the genre itself until I'm very much in the middle of drafting, but I'm also aware that my process is different to everybody else, and it doesn't work that way for everybody. But another way you can step outside of your comfort zone is by switching around your ideas. By this, I mean simply not tying it down to a certain genre, let yourself explore the idea and see where it takes you. I won't say that it always works. Sometimes an idea comes and it's obviously not going to be one you can move around. If it's about a murder, it's unlikely to be high fantasy, but that doesn't mean that you can't add new elements to it and move it maybe from a straight up mystery to a fantasy story where the murder kicks things off. I think you get what I mean. Moving your ideas around and manipulating them into a different view, it can really change your way of thinking and see where it goes. Number 3. Changing your writing routine. As someone who is frequently changing my writing routine, I couldn't not talk about this one. I know that I'm very lucky in that writing is my full-time gig. I get to do this for a living, so I can afford to write when I want and to have a delicate routine that I follow. However, it doesn't always flow as naturally as it might seem from my video and vlogs. I usually have some idea how things are going to go, but life sometimes gets in my way. Like in February, I was always writing at my desk, waking up in the wee hours and getting my work done and out of the way. And while it's not changed much, bringing in the writing vlogs that I do every month has made me look at things differently. I can write in bed from time to time, and with the world still in the throes of the plague, getting outside and going to a cafe isn't going to happen. Yeah, I can still switch things up. There have been some things when I've not been well the day before and have put off writing until the afternoon. I have been, throughout the 20 years as being a writer, an early morning writer, an afternoon writer, an evening writer, a middle of the night writer, and so on. It just depends on how I'm doing, what's going on in my life, and so forth. But I feel like that's a really good way to do things, just to go with the flow. But if, unlike me, you have another job or other commitments, then of course it's not going to be easy to stick to any kind of schedule or routine, and stepping out of your comfort zone here, you can mix things up and see if part of the reason you're struggling is because you need some kind of change. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, then you can try something else. Number 4. Leaving behind your favourite tropes. Every writer has their favourite tropes when it comes to either the stories they write or the stories they read. Sometimes they will get stuck in the idea that their story has to follow the pattern of similar tropes throughout. I don't mean that they write the same story over and over, no one does that, but that they don't really branch out and see about trying new tropes. Whether that's one they're not really fond of and subverting it, or just one they've liked before but isn't a favourite. One way to spice things up is to do just that. Take a trope you like, or even one you hate, and make it yours. Either turn it on its head or add something new to the way it's normally portrayed and see where that takes you. I find that a lot of the time I'll be writing purposely to avoid certain tropes rather than to include others. And while I have my faves, I have found that reaching out and reading new authors will give me an idea for what I would do if I included that trope in my stories. It's all about learning, growing and changing, and that includes tropes you know and love. And number 5, trying something new, full stop. A lot of the time writers will get stuck in their ways, and sometimes that's a good thing and sometimes it's not. Like with the tropes, someone who does it well is always going to be preferable to someone who doesn't, and the writing routine. Some writers swear by theirs and it keeps them writing and productive, and who am I to argue with that? But there are times when stepping outside of your comfort zone, changing the way you do things, can be an amazing experience. Like if I dismissed the idea for Lights Out, I would never have gone on to write another dystopian quartet, and I wouldn't have gone on to dabble in urban fantasy. Part of the writing process is, in my opinion, learning, growing and changing for the better. Yes, there are times when things don't turn out that great, but you still learn from the act of having tried, and that's not a bad thing. So when thinking how you do things, don't be afraid to get out of the familiar and try something new. It may end up being the best decision that you make. So there we go, those are my 5 things about getting out of your comfort zone and seeing what's out there, how you can do things differently and all of that. Personally, I really have found that my comfort zone is being stretched at all times, and it's a good thing, it's a good feeling. I know some people don't cope that well with change, and that's okay, you know, you've got to do you and you've got to do what works for you. So what's one thing that you think you could do to branch out of your comfort zone, or what's one thing that you have done to branch out of your comfort zone? Let me know in the comments down below. So that's all I've got time for today. If you want to support my channel, you can comment, like or subscribe. I post videos on Thursdays. You can find me all over social media, and my books are available everywhere. And don't forget to pick up Lights Off, which is the 3rd in the Lights Out trilogy, which is YA dystopian. And also don't forget to grab a ticket for Author City in Birmingham in July 2022, where I will be signing books. All the links for which are listed below. Thanks for watching, and remember to keep writing. Bye.